So we're here with Tim Ballard, the creator of the movie Sound of Freedom. Tim, how are you?
Doing great, man.
What brings you out to the RNC?
You know, yesterday I didn't know I was going to be here. We've been in Latin America, working with these countries. After Sound of Freedom came out, all of a sudden, all these the presidents from Honduras, Guatemala, Ecuador, ministers from Argentina, all these countries are calling us.
Yes, sir.
Because they're pretty pissed at the United States.
Wow.
Because they know what's going on, even though the current administration is pretending they don't know what's going on, which is this. You know, the United States, we're the #1 demand for child sex in the world. We're the #1 consumer of child rape videos, right? So,
whoa.
So per capita, there's more pedophiles here than anywhere else.
That's insane.
And it used to be that, you know, and I worked for 12 years as a special agent, undercover operator for the U.S. government for Homeland Security.
Yes, sir.
And I left. If you know, you saw Sound of Freedom, you know why I left, because the bureaucracy, and they wouldn't let me stay and finish the
politics,
the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we used to hunt these sex tourists.
Yes, sir.
Right back like in mid 2000s, that go look for kids to have sex with in other countries. But once we've opened our borders, as we have, they don't have to do that anymore because the traffickers are kidnapping the kids from Ecuador, Colombia, Honduras, El Salvador, and they're bringing them across into the United States. And these kids oftentimes have phone numbers written on their arms or a piece of paper. And the way the policy is, thanks to Biden and that administration, is these agents, they have to call the number, and they call it the sponsor, right? And whoever picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I got Miguel Nieto here." Oh yeah, he's my grandson. Where should I send him? Send him to this address. There was one case where 30 kids were sent to the same address in Austin.
That's absolutely insane. So what happens once they send them to the address? Are they like getting?
They're getting
trafficked.
They're getting trafficked.
Wow.
And that's, you know, you were telling me earlier, you see some of the kids have wristbands.
Yeah. So
because they have it's organized.
Yes,
it's organized
sir.
crime.
So
these guys are making like $14 million a day.
A day?
Selling these kids, getting them across the border.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So how is this being allowed to happen in America? Like, that seems like something that like just should be getting cracked down on.
And they don't want to talk about it. Look at there's a reason that Sound of Freedom, it was so hard to get it out. Right? It was done 5 years before it got. Every studio rejected it.
Wow.
Because they didn't want to have the conversation that we're having right now.
Because it's exposing so much.
It's exposing it. Because what's happening is with millions of illegal immigrants coming across. And by the way, I'm very pro-immigration.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 kids that we rescued in Haiti.
Pro-legal.
That I adopted.
Legally, of course.
Yeah, legal immigration.
Yes, sir.
But that's different than having thousands of children unaccompanied showing up at our borders and then just calling the number and sending them off. So basically, this is a sad commentary. Basically, our U.S. agencies have basically become child trafficking delivery services.
Well, and I can attest to that because we actually went to the border. Like I was telling you off camera, we went to the border with Vivek Ramaswamy. We put it on our channel, and the first thing we saw was a little girl coming across the water, and she was wearing a wristband, and she was by herself, wearing like name brand clothes. Like, oh, I'm here for a better life in Spanish, but like, what? How do you need a better life? You're wearing name brand clothes.
That's
like, what poor kid's wearing that?
That's right.
I can attest to
they're
like,
they're luring them.
Yeah,
they're luring them.
And then they didn't do anything. They took her, they processed her, and they put them on the white buses and sent her off.
That's right.
That's insane.
And where they sent them was whatever phone number they're supposed to call.
Wow.
So if I'm if I'm a sex tourist, I don't have to spend money to travel to El Salvador or Colombia. All I got to do is just sit back and find the trafficker in New York City or wherever, because the kids are coming to us.
Wow.
Because the traffickers are taking their kids. I was just in Ecuador meeting with the Minister of Defense 2 days ago, right? And he says, look, our kids are being kidnapped.
Wow.
They go to the impoverished areas and say, hey, you want a better life? And they convince the parents to let the kid go, and hey, the kid will help you.
What?
And
that's insane.
The other thing that happens is if they show up in families, they get processed faster. So they'll take the kids
and they pretend to be a family.
And pretend to be a family.
Wow.
And then they just keep recycling the same kid.
That's absolutely insane. So what agencies are the ones that are going and convincing the parents to give up these children? Is it the cartel? Like, who is it?
Yeah, it's the cartel. It's the cartel.
Okay.
It's the cartel.
Wow.
And they'll pay the parents, you know, and say, hey, we'll bring them back. he'll have a better life up there, and then we'll bring you up later. They say whatever they need to say, right? But they're making tons of money doing this.
That's
right?
absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many pedophiles in the United States, and they're just loving this. And once the kid, imagine this, right? Imagine if an American kid shows up unaccompanied by himself or herself in New York City, right? The cops are going to take that kid, Child Protection Service. They're not going to give that kid to anybody. There's going to be a DNA test. There's going to be a background investigation. But
you can't do that with illegal kids because they have no documents.
We're not affording them the same thing. So they call Trump a racist for building the wall. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but not only is that extremely alarming and should build an even bigger case against illegal immigration because it's affecting children. Like, I just feel like illegal immigration it's a way bigger, a broader umbrella than what's presented to us.
Absolutely.
Like, they just try to make it seem like if you're against it, oh, you're a racist, you're xenophobic. They have these labels to shut you up,
right.
basically.
That's right.
But like what you're breaking down to me, it's just so alarming. Like it's shocking.
You're hurting these foreign kids. And I met with the president of Honduras, okay? She's super socialist, all right?
Yes, sir.
The next day I met with the president of Guatemala, super conservative. It didn't even matter. Their politics are opposite. They both said the same thing. Your open borders are killing our kids.
Wow.
And they're we're helping them start campaigns telling them don't go with the coyotes, don't go with the smugglers. They're going to hurt your kids. And sometimes these people who want to go get a better life, they don't have the money. So don't worry.
So they basically like, we're going to sponsor you to get a better life.
Yeah,
so they're just like enticing people under the guise of a better life.
Right.
And they're just trafficking them.
And that's how they're getting, you say, you got to pay for this, and you're going to pay for it because we're going to sell you during the 3,000-mile trek from, El Salvador to El Paso, whatever. They're going to get raped like 10 times for money, and then they'll sell them once they get inside the U.S.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and this is what's going on.
And no one's talking about it.
They're not talking about it because, again, this is why they wanted to shut down Sound of Freedom.
Oh, wow.
Because if you remember in the movie, it begins with a rescue at the border.
Yeah, it does.
Right? So they
catch that dude going to get the children.
Right, that's the true stories. They don't want that told because that's where it begins. So what we have to do now, this is sad. We're working with Mexico, Ecuador, we're working with a bunch of other countries to go rescue the kids. I hate to say it this way, it sounds so bad, but to rescue them from Biden. Okay,
wow.
We got to rescue the kids before they get to the land of the free.
That's absolutely insane.
So we got to get them because once they hit our border,
they're just gone.
They're gone. 200,000 unaccompanied minors in the last 2 years are unaccounted for. They're gone. They
just without a trace.
Yeah, and once you're in the U.S., you have no name, you have no identity, you have no one looking for you. You're gone.
Wow.
You're gone. You're a sex slave, or a labor slave, or whatever it is.
Wow.
And this is why. When Trump was in office, this wasn't happening.
Absolutely not.
Because he shut it down.
He was man, and he had a very tough on immigration policy. And the way the media covers it, they just make it seem like we're the bad guy.
Right.
But like, I don't know, man. Like knowing this should be everywhere.
Right.
Everyone has to know this. Like this is shocking.
There's an easy solution to, by the way, which I worked. So when Trump was in office, I worked for him on his the White House Council to End Human Trafficking.
Okay.
And what we came up with, right, was. Look, take your immigration courts, asylum courts, and make them part of the embassy in Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia. Then the honest immigrants will show up, and there's no loophole. But the way they do it is all the courts are in the U.S.
Wow.
And so they let everybody in, and they give them what's called a notice to appear.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like the paper that they process them with.
Yeah, and it's like 8 years.
Yeah. So basically, they just let them in the country with that pending case.
Right.
And then if nothing happens in 8 years, don't they like dismiss it or something?
No one shows up.
Yeah.
No one shows up, and no one looks for them.
Wow.
So in our country, we are complicit in trafficking children.
Wow.
And they don't want to talk about it, man.
Man, that shit.
You gotta know, Disney owned Sound of Freedom for a year.
Wow.
And they were gonna shelve it. We had to buy it back from them.
Whoa. So
everyone in Hollywood shut us down.
So with the way like the Hollywood was shutting you down, not wanting to buy it, and Disney trying to shelve it, would you say like they're almost complicit in this happening?
Well, what they want is they want Biden and his people to stay in power.
So they're trying to cover this up. In order to protect him.
Right. Because look, the more immigrants you get in, they think they're gonna all vote Democrat.
Yep, exactly.
That's why they're trying to change the laws so you can
vote with no voter ID.
Right.
Wow.
So it's all a plan, but they're doing it at the cost of children's lives. They have the blood of children on their hands.
Wow.
For political gain.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. And so what? I mean, we've been trying to fight. I've testified before Congress like 3 or 4 times about this, and no one does anything.
Wow.
So now we're like, fine, then we're going to just go into the other countries, forward deploy,
try to help
and
them.
rescue them before they get to our country.
Right, so try to stop it at the source.
Right.
So what do you think the Trump administration, when he wins the election, because I think he's going to win.
He's going to win it.
So what do you think like Trump will do like differently to protect it? Like obviously the tougher on immigration policies.
It's exactly what he was doing.
Right.
So the first thing he did was it's called Remain in Mexico.
Yeah, they ended that day one with Joe Biden.
And the minute Biden took over, he canceled it. What it means is, fine, if you're truly deserving of being in this country, if you need asylum or you're going to be a productive citizen, you can wait in Mexico and you can have your day in court, but you're going to live in Mexico until you don't get a free pass in.
Wow.
Right? So what happened was it sucked all the wind out of the sails of the traffickers. They stopped kidnapping kids because there's no loophole anymore. So, but if you're going to keep all the asylum courts and everything in the U.S., they're just going to let everybody in. They're never going to show up, and the kids are going to disappear. Again, I'm going to say this: 200,000 unaccompanied minors. Thousands of them were under 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
That showed up and were released to whoever came to pick them up.
Oh, wow. That's absolutely insane.
It is absolutely insane. It's one of the worst things happening in the world today.
Absolutely.
And they just won't talk about it. And I've talked to, the Republican caucuses about it, and they're like, we can't get the left to even raise an eyebrow over
I wonder why, though. Like, why?
Because they're getting the votes. They think they're going to get the votes.
Wow.
Millions of people are going to vote Democrat because the Democrats let them into the country.
That is absolutely insane. There's got to be, wow. I feel like, thank you for coming on today. I really feel like everyone in America should know this story. I definitely feel like this will change a lot of people's minds on a lot of things because everyone's so brainwashed by the media and this rhetoric and the labels that they push. If you don't agree, they label you to shut you up. And like, I don't know, man. I just feel like everyone should know.
Or like,
this.
Here's another example, right? This just killed me.
This is crazy.
So Kamala Harris, right? She's the border czar, right?
Yeah.
So I remember in 2016 when Trump was talking about border enforcement, she actually did a post, and she said most of the seizures and rescues of people happen at the ports of entry. We don't need any walls.
Wow.
I'm like, wait, how stupid can you be? You can't congratulate the port of entry for a rescue or a drug seizure without automatically congratulating the wall, because the wall
would have been the blocker for the interception.
Exactly. It's what created the port of entry.
Exactly.
It's like saying that the traffickers are going to drive through like hundreds of miles of desert with no wall and look for 2 posts and a fence and try to take the kid through there.
Yeah, that's
we
like literally.
We need the wall. The wall. It doesn't keep good immigrants out.
It keeps us safe.
It keeps. We're not. This whole idea that Trump hates brown kids or whatever. No, what we're trying to do is protect these foreign children from our American pedophiles.
Man, that's absolutely.
It turns the whole thing on its head.
Facts.
Yeah.
No, it really does. And not only like is the child trafficking a huge problem that's just not talked about. We've got more fentanyl deaths now. We've got drugs coming in. We don't know who's coming in the country. Like
it's not just Latin Americans.
Yeah.
It's terrorists.
Oh man, it's people from everywhere.
Anyone coming in.
Chinese people,
right?
Africans, Latin America. I mean, it's people of all races.
Yeah,
like, and it's crazy because when you say that, they try to demonize you and say, oh, you don't like brown people, or you don't like foreign. They use the xenophobic label and things like that. Like, guys, like this is a much bigger issue.
It's the opposite.
Exactly.
We're trying to rescue foreign children.
And I also had this argument with someone recently, like, if they're coming here for the American dream, right? They want an opportunity at a better life. How can you come over here with no paperwork, no taxes, no nothing, and you're coming over here just unable to work, unable to get a job, unable to get housing? How do you have an opportunity at a better life?
Exactly.
You have to survive, so you have to commit crimes to survive.
Exactly.
So not only is it putting you in a bad situation, it puts us in a bad situation because we can't help you get a better life.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's a lose-lose for everybody involved.
That's right. And I'm very much pro immigration reform.
Absolutely.
We should make it easier for the right people to come in.
I agree.
We
I
want them
completely
here.
agree.
We want them here.
100%.
We have lots of opportunity here.
This is the land of opportunity.
But don't do it in a way that kids are going to get raped.
Absolutely.
Is that too much to ask, President Biden? I mean, it's insane.
It is absolutely insane.
And to hear a socialist president in Honduras tell me this,
man,
was shocking to me, because she doesn't care. It has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
It has to do with kids.
It does. We got to protect the youth. That's the future.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the future of the world.
That's
I
right.
mean, got to protect the children, man. Thank you for coming on today, Tim.
No, thank you,
Thank
man.
you so much for coming and telling this story. I hope and I pray that you can continue to get this message out there. I hope you can continue to accomplish your goal. This is something that everybody in America needs to know, and I hope you can continue to wake people up. And I hope Trump takes your plan and puts it in action.
Oh,
we
he
see
will.
some real change.
He will. And we're a nonprofit organization that
Yes,
does
sir.
all this work.
Yes,
It's
sir.
called Aerial Recovery.
Yes,
So
sir.
if people want to help out and donate to help us complete our mission, it's just aerialrecovery.org.
Yes, sir.
And that's what funds us.
Okay,
So-
we'll post a link on this under this video. We'll
and
definitely-
also what's cool is we've been going around to these countries. Like I said, I just got back from Ecuador. The companies in Ecuador, the companies in Guatemala, they are now funding our operations.
absolutely. Oh, that's
because
awesome.
because they're realizing that their kids are being kidnapped
Abs-
by these traffickers
And this is a real
and
problem.
being abused by Americans.
Yes, sir. Man,
So-
that's disgusting that this happens in America. That's very shameful. I feel sad hearing that, man.
Yep.
But thank you for
It's
coming
horrifying.
on.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the plan and best of luck with everything.
Thank you
sir.
so much, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming.
Great interview. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Awesome.